Hey, fourth graders. So this little video, I was hoping to get to this yesterday, but I'm going to have you watch it today so that we can continue to move ahead with our division. We're going to look at dividing and multiplying, of course, with zeros. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So I would like you to have your math books out right now. That way you can follow along. We may fill some things in. We may do some highlighting. So I'm on page 101. It's where we left off yesterday. Okay. So the first thing, very blurry. The first thing I want us to do is just to look in these two boxes or four boxes, if you will. I want you to see what pattern you notice. Look at it with a multiplication eye and a division eye. Just give you a second to peek. And I hope that one of the things you're noticing is just like when we multiply with zeros, you're noticing that you can always take the base number and you can do that operation. So 4 times 1, of course, these are both ones, is going to simply equal 4. As we move on and we start multiplying with tens, hundreds, and thousands, I hope that you've noticed that the zeros are increasing for each place value. Because by the time we get down to the bottom, we're multiplying by 1,000. Therefore, we have 3 zeros to show the 4 places for the thousands place, right? And I hope as you looked into the division, you're also noticing the same thing. I could just simply be looking at the whole numbers. Let's make this a little bit bigger, right? And as I go down the whole way, I'm really just thinking 4 divided by 4. 4 divided by 4, 4 divided by 4, 4 divided by 4. Then, depending on what place I'm in, that's going to determine how many zeros are added to my answer, just as I did over here in multiplication, right? The answers are different, but the zeros are the same for the place value. 1 0 for tens, 2 zeros for hundreds, and 3 zeros for thousands place. So really pay attention to that. Same thing, these are just two different, this is just different fact families. This is 7 times 5 is 35. And this one was 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, and then we flipped it to division, of course. So again, I'm really wanting you to pay attention to the zeros. No zeros in the ones, no zeros in the ones. As we move down, we'll see our zeros increase. So by the time we're multiplying and dividing into the thousands, we have 3 zeros tacked on to our answer. But we really just need to know, is our base number, whether we're multiplying 7 times 5 is 35, then we can put our 3 zeros on afterwards, or dividing 35 divided by 7, we know that's 5, and then we're in the thousands, so we add our 3 zeros at the end. We want to keep it simple for ourselves. So as we're multiplying and dividing with zeros, let's just do that. We'll look at our base number. Okay, so let's keep moving. As we go down this page, we're not going to fill in numbers 16 and 17 right now, or you can if you would prefer to. I'm not going to write that right now. What I do want us to look at is to find the unknown factor, and then we're going to multiply to check. We did that a little bit yesterday. So we'll find the unknown factor and multiply. Okay, so let's do it. Let's look at number 18. I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit. There we go. So I'm going to read this 320 divided by 4. I don't want to be scared by this large number. I'm going to look at just the base number without zeros. I'm going to imagine that this 0 is not there and that it's 32 divided by 4. You guys were doing fantastically with this yesterday. I'm thinking in my mind, 4 times what equals 32 or gets me very close. That's the missing factor that I'm trying to think of. Think of that. I know 4 times 8 is 32. So now I can go backwards and I can say 8 times 4 is 32, and I can subtract. Really important that our 8 is right above the 2 because that shows where it's going to, right? When I do this subtraction, there are no leftovers, it's 0. But I still have a 0 here. This is where I get to add my 0, okay? Because there's 1 here, I'm going to put 1 up there. This shows me that 80 times 4, 4 times 80 should equal 320. And that's part of my check. So as I make my multiplication equation, 4 times 80 equals 320. And I can check that by putting the whole numbers. I know 4 times 8 is 32, and there's 1 0 for that 10. Okay? So this is how I would check myself. Let's try one more together, just so we can get an idea, just kind of feeling out these zeros, right? Here it is, number 19, 420 divided by 6. So again, I'm looking at my whole number. I'm imagining that this 0 isn't there. I'm trying to find the missing factor, okay? 6 times what gets me to 42? Think about that. Yep, I know that 7 times 6 is 42. So I'm going to write it down and do my subtraction. Make sure it's lined up. Your 7 is above the 2. This is 0 and this is 0. So when there's a 0 left, the 0 has to come up here too. Okay, so you're adding that. So as we check, we're saying 6 times 70 equals 420. Let's check it. I'll take my whole numbers. 6 times 7, I know that's 42, and I have 1 0 to add to the end. So yes, it checks. Okay, so that's a little introduction about multiplying and dividing with zeros. So we'll continue to work with this as we move on in our live math today. All right, see you later.